Good afternoon. Welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. I'm Mike Danais.
And I'm Charlie Hossack.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a rainy Tuesday that we're filming. And
it's pretty miserable out today.
It is. It's cold. It's raw. We need the rain, though, so I'm not complaining.
Okay.
That's my motto, at least for this week. No complaints. Small bites.
Good luck.
All right.
In the COVID era, it's really hard.
But I have friends, colleagues that I work with.
I'm hoping the next 5 minutes are no complaints.
Okay, so maybe let's
try.
the
next 30 minutes.
I've been interrupted twice with what I'm trying to say.
I think that's a complaint.
That is a complaint. It must be a complaint. Well, small bites are really small.
Our whole show is complaints.
I wanted to let you know that I work with some colleagues whose wells are dry, so this rain is very, very beneficial.
I'm happy for that. I'm not complaining about the rain. You're the one who's complaining about the rain.
I'm not complaining about the rain.
Our whole show is complaints. We're going to complain about the Patriots. We're going to complain about the Lakers. We're going to complain about the Celtics.
Okay.
We're going to...
Well, that's what we do, though. We're supposed to complain about sports.
So we have a...
Life is good, though.
Okay.
Apparently not. So let's try not to interrupt me anymore.
I would like to thank our sponsors.
Yes.
I would like to thank Skelly's Market.
Excuse me.
Downtown Grill and Cafe.
You got it. And Morrissey's Porch and Pub. Thank you so much.
I got this today. All right.
It's the Mike Show. Here we go.
All right. So we did not get emailed our athlete of the week, so
No.
we're gonna have to hold off on that. I didn't see anything. We had the long weekend. I'm guessing that's probably what it was going on.
Sure.
We'll get him
We'll
twice
get it.
next time.
Yeah, Mr. House got him to us.
All right. So Kingswood Sports. We did the football. We'll start with football because we did that game.
Yeah.
They played Bow, a really good team.
Bow was an excellent team.
And it was a tough day for the Kingswood football team.
It was. It was a tough day. It was. We had spoken with Coach Landry on the radio show on Friday, and he had kind of alluded to the fact that it was going to be an uphill battle, and it was challenging for them. Let's talk a couple highlights, though. There's a lot of highlights.
Yeah.
I want to talk about just a few players: Jackson McCullough, Patrick Runnels, Andrew Keniston, Lance Gauthier, David Hartley.
We talked. I'm going to start with Patrick Runnels.
Yeah.
I got a chance to talk to Coach McCullough today a little bit too, but he saved probably 6 touchdowns.
He did. Yeah.
himself. He was open field tackling was. It's a very athletic team.
Yes.
And he was by himself on an island often, because they got through the first, second, third levels,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was just Patrick and 80 yards of green.
Right.
And Patrick wrapped him up every single time. I had him missing one tackle all day.
Yeah, right. And then he slowed him down enough to get some help.
Right.
But here's the thing. So Roger Brown, our friend Roger Brown. He
Yep.
does Helmet Stickers of the Week, and I was convinced that when I opened up Helmet Stickers of the Week that I was going to see Patrick Runnels' name there, because you are right. He was pretty much the defensive player, really, of the day. Even from both sides of the ball, he was the guy that was making all the tackles. And what a game! What a game for Patrick
Great
Runnels.
game defensively. Jackson McCullough continues to impress. He does everything. He did long snapping.
He did.
He didn't punt, but he did kicking.
Yep.
He played quarterback. He played running back. He played middle linebacker.
Yeah.
He was a captain. Did the coin toss.
Yep. He scored the touchdown. And he kicked the PAT.
And he kicked the PAT.
Yeah. With a little help from a lineman's helmet.
Yeah, but any way you can do it.
Doesn't matter. It works. No.
Jackson McCullough is, in a really what's mapped out to be a really tough schedule for the Knights.
Right.
Given who they're playing and they're playing basically the 4 best teams in Division II.
They really are.
And it was a rebuilding year for the Knights. They have low numbers. Those numbers are very young.
Yeah.
So it's really just a tall task.
You're right. One of the teams that they're going to play this year is going to end up winning the championship.
Yeah.
Definitely. So.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that in the finals, the 2 teams that are in the finals
may have already played the Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of adjustment in their schedule, though.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Plymouth this week, which is another tall task. Kennett was dropped from their schedule.
It was.
For Merrimack Valley, which is actually going to be a playoff game for them.
Yep. So they call it a play-in game. So and I think looking at Merrimack Valley and talking to some people around high school football, it's a better matchup for Kingswood.
It's a much better.
It's a game that Kingswood has an opportunity to win.
They have an opportunity to win, and they also have an opportunity to actually execute some plays.
Yep.
To work on things from practice in the games, because we saw it And it's not Kingswood's fault. It's certainly not the coach's fault. They're
Not at
doing
all.
absolutely everything that they can.
Yeah.
They're just physically undermatched
Right.
against these huge teams, especially at the line.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting pushed around because you have a 260-pound lineman that is that might be a junior or a senior, that's pushing around a 105-pound, offensive line. For Kingswood, that's a freshman that doesn't know.
Right.
So it's really a lot to ask, and I mean that's where these games are. I don't want to say being decided. The games are it's such a mismatch at the line.
Yeah, they're lopsided. Yeah.
But at that line, it starts at the line, and
does.
so Kingswood. And I feel bad going back to Jackson for a second. Jackson wants to throw the ball at quarterback. As soon as he comes back,
he's under pressure.
So my point is that there's no time for them to execute any of the things that they're working on in practice.
Right.
Against Merrimack Valley, a team that is more built like they are.
Yep.
They're going to have time to actually see some of the benefits of their practices.
I agree.
Because these guys practice.
I agree.
And, they're working hard in practices, and coaches are working hard in practices. And this, I think, is going to be good for them. Mm-hmm. And if they win,
they get to move on. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm hoping, we don't know yet. We don't know where the game is going to be. Obviously, we're hoping that we get to host, and obviously Kingswood, the Knights, would be hoping that we get to host. But we'll find out. We'll know by next week's show.
Okay. The golf team has their state championship, hopefully, this Thursday.
Yeah.
So as we know, the high school's been shut down because we had a positive case, and so things are on hold. I guess as this district does their due diligence and figure out who's come in contact.
Well, they practiced there this past weekend, correct?
They practiced at Keene. Yep. And I have the list, and I should have pulled the list of who are the 5 players that are going. I think I could do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Henry Saunders,
Okay.
Will Danais,
Yep.
Reese Clark, Mikey Palmer.
Okay.
That's
You just
4.
got one more. You are really good at math. You got one more. You can do it.
I'm going to look.
All right. You can look.
I'm gonna look.
We'll get that.
I'm going to look. Get that.
You look.
You keep talking. Why don't you talk about
let's
talk about boys soccer?
Yeah, so soccer. So boys soccer, they had their last game canceled because there was a positive case of COVID at Kennett. So they were going to be joining us last Friday night, and all of the games with Kennett had been postponed. So boys soccer didn't have a chance to play last week. They were supposed to have a game tonight, and because we have a positive case of COVID here at Kingswood, the games were canceled tonight. They were supposed to play Guilford. So the boys soccer team is looking to go to Guilford on Thursday. So they are ready to go. They're excited to play, and that will happen on Thursday at Guilford. You got the number 5.
Tyler Sprints.
All right, right on.
So I'm sorry, I obviously wasn't listening to you. So boys soccer is going.
Nothing's new.
Okay.
You were not listening to me.
No, I was not.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me where boys soccer is playing next?
Sure. So this is only for you because the viewers already know. The viewers know that they're playing at Guilford on Thursday.
Okay, Guilford's pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, Guilford's really good. And even though, and people talk about, well, they're Division III. It doesn't matter. They're really good at soccer. They're really good at baseball.
They're really good at baseball.
They're good athletics at Guilford.
Okay. Did you touch on girls soccer too?
I haven't gotten there. You honestly just disappeared. You were trying to look for one name and you disappeared.
But I found the name.
You did find the name.
I found the name. I was kind of impressed that I found that name.
That was awesome.
All right, so field hockey.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about girls soccer.
Well, you
My
didn't
goodness.
seem to have any information on girls soccer.
No, girls soccer hasn't played either, so they're kind of in a similar boat. I don't know where they're going next. We do know that the highlight of girls soccer, their next home game will be next Thursday under the lights at 7 o'clock.
Against Prospect.
Against Prospect Mountain, which is great because, Prospect's from Alton and just right here, so we should have good crowds.
We need to name that rivalry. You know how Kennett has a rivalry with us?
Yep.
What is it called? The Pizza Bowl.
Yeah, the Pizza Barn Bowl.
Or Carroll County Championship.
It's the Carroll County Championship, and people call it the Pizza Barn Bowl. That's through football. Yeah, sure.
I think we
should get something.
The Route 28 Bowl or something like that.
We could do it at
the Traffic Circle Bowl.
Where the traffic. Yeah, we'll all meet at the Alton Traffic Circle.
Something. Just but we need to build that stuff up a little bit.
I think, and it'd be great to have a rivalry because a lot of the Prospect players and Kingswood players know each other and are friendly with each other.
Field hockey, the brackets came out for playoffs, and Kingswood is going to be hosting next Thursday the winner of Kennett and Plymouth.
Right.
Now, I believe that Kingswood's played both of them so far. They played Plymouth twice.
Did they split with Plymouth? What are they
split with Plymouth?
Okay.
And I only know about one outcome on the Kennet. I don't know if they
maybe
played
the other one. Well, the other
time.
one was probably canceled because of Friday night.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So so they've had. I mean, they've seen these teams. They've seen these teams. And now, do we know if, because it's an open tournament, if the winner of their regions are moving on to? Are they going to have state titles this year?
I think that's what they're kind of moving towards. I think that's the direction.
So keep them in region.
So you would keep them in region because I know that when Mr. House went to our school board, it talked about the possibility of us playing outside of region as the tournament continues.
Okay, so you have a region championship, which is what this is going to be, and all the teams.
And then I think you would go
and then you would move on to, and they would probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah, based
probably
on your
4
division,
teams,
right?
You know, semis and so on.
Right.
You wonder if that's going to be the future.
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, I think, you know, with where we are now with COVID and the pandemic, I mean, I don't think people always say, oh, I want things to go back. I don't think things are ever going to go back to like it was.
No.
We've just kind of adjusted, and things are going to return to a new, what do you say, the new normal.
Well,
and it's not a bad idea. I like keeping it regional. I think that's great. There's not, I mean, you know this. I mean, you coach and you travel. There's nothing worse than getting on a bus for, like, say, for a football game at 7 o'clock at night and having to travel to Conval or even going up to Hanover or Lebanon. We
did that a couple of years ago. Well, last year
we did. Yeah, we do it, or we've done it quite. I've done it quite a bit.
But when we were announcing last year, we did all the games last year.
We did, and we went up there.
Conval, Hanover, Lebanon.
I mean, that's just, and I mean, the kids, they get back so late, and I get it that it's a Friday, but it's too much travel. It's a lot nicer to go to Plymouth or Kennet, or maybe go to Interlakes or any of those local schools.
Also, these kids are often playing on some of their club teams with those other kids at the high school.
Yeah.
And there's that rivalry relationships that they have.
Yeah.
And then, if you're good enough, then you expand past that.
Yeah.
If you have, I like these region champions.
I like it too. And we saw that just even with our like fall baseball team. A lot of the teams we played, a lot of the players on our team knew many of the other players because they do some club stuff with them, or they play. It's just, I like it. It's kind of keep it regional. Keep it close.
Okay. Volleyball.
Yeah.
They have a couple matches coming up.
They do.
I think volleyball is playing next Tuesday.
Yeah, now their senior night was postponed, which is a bummer because that was going to be.
It's probably going to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
Now these makeup games, we were fortunate to have Mr. House, the athletic director, at halftime.
Yeah.
Of the football game, which is going to be airing at some point Friday. So the football game is going to be. Football game they played last week is going to be airing this Friday.
Good.
And Aaron House was our halftime guest, and he said that games are going to be made up. They're hoping to make up these games.
Right, which is awesome.
So they're not going to lose it. I mean, the schedule was so short as it was.
I was going to say, I get a little panicky because when Josh Spalding put out the brackets for field hockey, I'm thinking, like, we haven't even gotten going yet.
No, they played 3 games.
Yeah, and we already have the brackets. So I was just like, I hope there's time to get some games in.
I hope so. So maybe volleyball is going to be senior night on Tuesday. I would imagine.
Yeah, whatever the next home game is would be senior night, which will be great.
Unless they have one this week.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else Kingswood related that we want to talk about?
No, I want to compliment you.
I want to say, wait.
Yeah.
Cross country. We didn't put a cross country. We have a cross country runner that is winning all of these races.
Casey Arsenault. Yeah, he just wins. That's all he does.
Yeah, I mean
Casey goes in and wins.
He wins these races.
Yeah.
So
and dare I say, because I do know a little bit, not only does he win, he dominates.
Okay, is he?
It's not like winning neck to neck. He's comfortably winning.
Well, I saw that they looked like they were finishing 1 and 2 at a recent race because it was Casey and Oleg Sheehan right behind.
Yeah.
So, and we knew Oleg from last year. He was
he's a fast runner as well. Yeah.
And so, the Kingswood cross country team can probably compete for their state title if they. I'm assuming.
It'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a banana, but not a banana, a banner. It would be nice to have a banner. I wanted to compliment you though.
I feel like having a banana right now.
Bananas are good. High potassium. You practice so much because you're all like Mr. Bigwig. Oh, I don't need you to look for the Kingswood field hockey stuff because I've memorized it, and you did a nice job. So congratulations.
Thank you.
No. All right.
I take my role
seriously. You don't know who the 5 golfers are, and you didn't know a word that I said about boys soccer, but good job memorizing the field hockey brackets.
I do my best.
Want to talk Pats?
Not really, but let's talk Patriots. They had a bye week kinda this week.
a forced bye week.
So the Patriots had last week we did the show last week. We knew Cam Newton
had tested positive.
They lost to the Chiefs, so that's updated. And then they were supposed to play Denver this week.
Yeah.
And
Stephon Gilmore, right?
He tested. A practice squad player tested.
Right.
And they were supposed to play Denver last night, which I was kind of bummed that they moved it to.
Yeah.
And then something's going on with the Patriots. They don't want to play.
Yeah.
That was from the team itself that they did not feel safe in playing.
Well, isn't it? I mean, Cam wasn't ready to play, right?
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it was a competitive issue?
I don't know. I mean, Patriots don't really have a quarterback.
No, we saw that.
So
we saw that.
I mean, so Cam was not ready. He wouldn't have been cleared to
hope
play.
That's not the case.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that's the case.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. What else would it be?
Apparently, the Patriots are not really happy with the NFL.
Okay.
In their protocols and how they do that.
Because they did, talking about Kansas City, they didn't get the space that they had requested.
Well, they're coming
Arrowhead.
in there. They took 2 airplanes, but they went into a locker room that we would see a high school team
Very
use.
small, yeah.
And so they were pretty upset about that. I mean, you can argue that Stephon Gilmore probably shouldn't have gone on the plane because he ate dinner with Cam Newton the night before. But there seems to be some disconnect between the NFL protocol and what's going on. And there also seems to be some consistency because I don't understand why they didn't play Monday when they put him on a plane to go to Kansas City.
Right.
Which seems that it would be even more of a risk.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So
did you hear? Speaking of controversy in the NFL, Christian Fourier, he had made some comments thinking that the NFL players are going to strike because of COVID protocol. That it's not being necessarily followed or adhered to consistently amongst teams within the NFL. That was his prediction. Just saying that there's some disgruntled players out there, and the NFL PA, the Players Association, is in conversations, and he's feeling like he wouldn't be surprised if they had a strike.
The Titans.
Yep.
So when the NFL went through the Titans facility, they had guys that didn't have masks on. Mm-hmm. They had people they have cafeteria facilities and so on.
Sure.
That were just 6 guys at a table, like we would see in a normal situation.
Right.
And they had practices that were when they weren't supposed to be practicing, when they were on quarantine or whatever.
Right.
When they shut the facility down.
They went to high schools and practice.
Right. That's not a good look. That's not a good look at all. And it's not like, you drive by a high school and you look at 6 or 7 guys that are practicing. It's pretty easy to tell if they're NFL players compared to a high school team.
Very easy. Yes.
So they weren't really keeping it secret. The Patriots, on the other hand, and I know that Cam Newton has it, and Stephon Gilmore has it, but apparently you walk into the Patriots facility, and this makes me a little bit of a homer. Every last protocol is being followed.
Right.
The guys do not eat together. They're 10 feet apart.
Yeah.
So if I'm eating, you're over there in that chair, and it's a really strict protocol.
Yeah.
Bill wore 2 masks, last week.
Yeah.
He wasn't messing around.
No. Bill's buying in.
So you and I talked, I think it was either radio or television. You said, I think your take was that there's no way this season finishes without a bubble.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Yeah. So we're in week 5.
Yep.
The schedule, holy cow! Did you see the algorithm of all the games that were moved over?
Yeah.
It gave. I had head cramp
thinking
about all
who's
those
playing who and right.
And no, your bye now is moved from week 7 to week 8.
Yeah.
But you're going to play this team, and it was crazy.
It was absolutely.
I'm impressed with the person that figured that out.
Yeah.
This is week 5.
Yeah.
You had 13 weeks of weeks that you could make this facilitate this. Yeah. What happens when this happens next week and the week after?
Right.
And the week after. I mean, it's a problem. I think that the NFL is teetering on shutting down.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, we're not switching sports, but the NBA just ended, and one of the compliments about the NBA is they had no positive cases because of the bubble. And we talked about we're not gonna do Disney World with the NFL, but these teams have the ability to create their own bubbles. And I know that we talk about New England and Gillette Stadium and the complex with the hotels there and everything, and it could happen. And you had mentioned on the radio show, I was saying they can sacrifice whatever, and you were like, heck, bring the families. It's not a big deal. Put them all in the bubble, and I agree with that. So, and you could do that, and there's no reason why the other NFL teams can't create their own bubbles of their team, and then you're traveling and being safe, going into the stadium, getting the job done, and then leaving. That's all.
we're talking guys that are making several millions of dollars.
Right.
I mean, most of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Even your lowest paid player is still making a good income.
Right, and they get a housing stipend or whatever they're going to need, you know, to help them out. But it's if I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but as teachers, you know, if our income depended on us being in a bubble to teach, we would go in a bubble.
We'd all go in a bubble. Yeah.
I mean, if that's what your job is, you'd go in a bubble.
Go in a bubble. Yeah.
And I think that the NFL needs to think about this because they're not. I don't care when I watch the game on Sunday. I don't care if they stayed at the Howard Johnsons down the road or they stayed at their house. I'm just watching the game.
Right.
And they got to figure out a way to play these games. And right now I give it a 50-50 shot that they complete this season.
Yeah. Which is too bad because, I mean, there were more people that watched Sunday Night Football than watched the NBA Finals, the final game. So that's how popular the NFL is.
I know.
So it'd be a huge blow for all of us.
All right, so they are playing Denver this weekend.
Yes. So what do we say? Well, they're playing 1 o'clock on Sunday. Is that what? I think so.
Is that what
like
it is?
A 1 o'clock game. Yeah.
What has your outlook changed for the Patriots this season?
No, my outlook hasn't changed because as long as they have Cam Newton at the helm, my outlook has changed. That if Cam is not part of the equation, I'm worried about the Patriots, and I do worry about I'm a warrior by nature, and I worry about next year. So they need to figure it out. If you look at like Dallas with Dak Prescott going down, they quickly signed Andy Dalton, right? Picked up Andy Dalton to as the backup.
They had him they
had him
this summer.
Yeah, yes. But they signed a quality backup quarterback.
Yes.
So that they knew that if something happened, so.
Are you saying the Patriots don't have a quality backup?
Yeah, what I'm saying is Andy Dalton is probably better than might be better than a few starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
So.
And he's certainly better than the backups the Patriots have.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm worried about.
And he marched them down and won that game. Gruesome industry. I mean, industry. Gruesome injury.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward-esque.
Yeah. You said Gordon Hayward. I had the knee with the Theismann thing, and the way it bent, and it was just awful. He's already had Dak Prescott. He's already had surgery.
And it was successful.
Yeah, which is good.
Because it was a compound fracture, they're worried about infection.
Sure.
But they said 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, and they're saying that he might be back in June, be ready to go for training camp.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Does this affect because he was franchised, he's $31 million or something like that, expected to sign a big contract like a Patrick Mahomes type of deal?
Yeah.
No, not happening now.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. So, do the Patriots need to trade a running back?
Yeah, we talked about this on the radio show, and I think we had both agreed on Sony Michel to say goodbye.
I liked what Damian Harris did last week.
Yeah. And I know you're a James White fan.
And I'm a James White fan.
Speaking of James White, can we just personal for a second? So after the radio show, I pick up James White, and he's on my fantasy, and then they have the stinking bye week, and there's nothing I can do. I can't unload him. I couldn't unload him because the bye was too late. I was already locked in.
Oh.
So I was frustrated.
Fantasy was tough because on my FanDuel account, the stat provider on FanDuel went offline from Saturday until Monday night.
Really?
And so we had all these lineups in, and you didn't know if you won or if you were winning, and you couldn't make any changes. You couldn't do anything. It was a rough week for FanDuel.
Yeah.
DraftKings seemed to be working fine.
But I agree with you. I mean, or maybe do you agree with me? Sony Michel, trade him.
Sony Michel's the one because he's the number one pick, and I think you can get something for him. And they need a tight end. Yeah. And Zach Ertz is out there, and Philadelphia could use another running back.
They could.
They could. They don't. They don't have that superstar running back.
Right.
And the Patriots could pick up Zach Ertz, who I think would really fit in well.
I agree.
So, we talked about the scheduling algorithms, and it's only week 5.
Yeah. It's exhausting talking about the NFL because like.
Do the Patriots win a division?
The Bills are really good. I don't know.
Do you have no thoughts on that?
You asking for my opinion? Go figure.
No, that's not what this kind of show is. Just give me the facts.
The Patriots, no, they're not going to win the AFC East.
Okay.
Are you going to share your opinion? Do you need me to ask you? Mike, what's your opinion? Will the Patriots win the AFC East?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
The Patriots are going to win the NFC.
So the Bills are not for real.
No, the Bills are for real. I think the Patriots are going to be 12-4 when this thing's all said and done.
What are the Bills going to be?
11-5.
Okay.
Yep.
So it'll be
that's where I think it's going to end up.
All right.
I do think the Bills are for real. I think for some reason, I think this is what the Patriots did with Kansas City, and I know Kansas City lost last night, so maybe it wasn't that special. But
thanks for rubbing that in.
Well,
I knew that was coming.
The Patriots. You mean they didn't finish undefeated?
They didn't finish
undefeated. Wow, that lasted a whole week.
I know.
Good take.
Thanks, buddy.
I thought the Patriots showed up when they weren't really ready to show up, and I still think they showed up.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of pieces. I think they have more pieces around them this year than they had last year.
I agree with you.
The only thing that worries me is that second level of defense, the linebackers. Mm-hmm. That I think they can get exposed, but I could see them going with that 6 defensive.
I was going to say you don't need linebackers. They didn't play with linebackers against Kansas City.
I could see that being the next thing.
Yeah.
I think this bye week, the way that it's structured, because they ended up practicing and so on, I think that's going to mess them up a little bit. I'm thankful it's Denver. They should beat Denver.
They should.
I'm not gonna. If they lose to Denver, all bets are off.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get it rolling.
I hope so.
But it's hard to get rolling in this environment. Because
yeah, it's hard. Yeah, if they're gonna, if COVID rears its head and then you're moving weeks and postponing games and they can't practice.
What if Denver tests positive? If a couple guys in Denver, then it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're probably not. The Patriots are probably going to be 5-2, and the season's going to end. So that's going to probably be what ends up happening. Gloom and doom. Right. Do we learn anything from the games this weekend? Even those are the game tonight, which is Tuesday, which is.
What did we learn? We learned that Kansas City isn't all I made them out to be.
That is true.
So Kansas City lost. We learned that San Francisco is falling off a cliff, which disappoints me. And there's quarterback controversy.
There should
be. I know.
What if Jimmy G's
coming
available?
Hey. Yeah, you never know.
They're not going to keep a $25 million quarterback as a backup.
No, they're not. They're not. I mean, how amazing would that be?
If Cam Newton gets him to a title this year, and then Jimmy G
returns,
rolls in next year.
That'd be exciting. I mean,
hey, that could happen.
Anything's possible. What else do we learn? We
learned that. Do you think the Bills? So it's Tuesday, and they're playing tonight against the Titans. Do the Titans have any chance? They haven't practiced for like 2 weeks.
No,
the Titans. I mean, they practiced maybe yesterday or something like that.
I think Buffalo's going to comfortably win this evening.
Do you know if this game's in Buffalo?
I don't know where it's.
I don't know either.
But does it matter anymore without fans?
No,
I don't know.
That is true.
And it's you. How do you? This kind of irks me. I want to know your feelings. What about? So I'm watching the game, and you. I don't know if you know this about me, but if I watch, so typically when I watch football games, especially teams that I love, I prefer to watch games by myself. I don't want really anyone around me, and I actually listen to it with no sound, because commentators actually annoy me. Kind of funny that we actually commentate, but and I just can't stand the piped in crowd
sound
noise. How do you feel about that? I just and not just it's not just football, but for baseball, for anything.
Doesn't bother me.
Really?
No, it doesn't bother me.
I would just, Mike. I think I said this before. I would like to hear the athletes.
Yeah.
The coaches.
I know.
That's what I'd like to hear.
But that empty sound, I think, would be. We talked about today that it was surreal today. We half the kids at school and so on.
Sure.
I think that would be a surreal thing.
Yeah.
And at least that sound of the humming of the fans.
Yeah.
You kind of forget that there's no fans.
That's true. Because all we would hear for the Monday night is Chris Collinsworth talking about nothing.
Right.
Gotcha.
Can we do our power rankings, Timothy?
We can do what we want, right?
Okay.
Timothy's all over this.
This thing's changed now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say the number one team in the NFL right now is the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Wow. How come the Packers?
They're undefeated.
Okay.
They've won handily.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I thought they were going to be a dumpster fire this year.
I thought they were going to be a bust.
Yeah, that was a bad take by me.
I'm going to go with the number one team as the Buffalo Bills.
Wow. Number two will be the Buffalo Bills for me.
Okay. Let's see. I guess number two I'll go with Green Bay. They're undefeated.
Number three for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts.
Yeah, that does hurt.
Roethlisberger is such a tool, and so is Tomlin.
I'm going to stay with the Chiefs at number 3.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched the game last night. The Saints. I like the Saints. I'm not in the top 3, but the Saints are. Don't discount the Saints.
Okay. We discounting Seattle though. They're undefeated.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah.
But they win at the last minute just about every game.
Yeah. Russell Wilson's so good.
He's great.
Yeah.
I think that they're not dominating. They're winning. They're just not dominating.
Winning, yeah. And I think they're obviously a playoff team that's going to go.
Well, think of that.
Pretty
that
far.
list of the teams that we didn't mention. We did not mention Chicago Bears, 4-1. We did not mention Baltimore Ravens, 4-1.
Yeah. What about the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders? Like, they showed up. I don't mean it for a power ranking right now, but they're a good team.
They're 3 and
would be 3-2.
3-2. As they played 5 weeks straight.
Yeah, but they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, I think that win against the Raiders is real.
Yeah.
So there's some Tennessee Titans.
What about the Browns?
I'm not ready there.
I'm not ready either, but I mean, they're like 4-1 though. I'm not there either, but I'm just saying, like, that's a surprise.
No.
It's not a surprise? Or you're not surprised that they're 4-1?
Well, they've had a number 1 pick for like 20 years in a row, so about time that they do something.
They finally started winning. I hear you.
Tennessee Titans? No?
No, I'm not no.
AFC Championship last year.
Yeah, that's, Okay. It's 2020.
Let's hit some basketball.
Yeah.
The Lakers won.
They did.
LeBron won his 4th.
Yeah.
They are now tied with your Boston Celtics.
Yes, they
17 titles
17
apiece.
titles.
Do the Lakers have a better franchise than the Boston Celtics?
That's such a good question. I know that's why you asked it. I don't think so. I think obviously there's a rivalry between Boston and LA. You always say beat LA, but you have to go back to, we're old, so you got to go back to the 80s. And then our grandparents would say, go back to the 60s when they just rattled off all those wins, the Celtics.
There was only 6 teams in the league then.
Yeah.
Most of their championships happened when there were 6 teams in the league.
Yeah.
When they were playing the, Des Moines River Rats or something like that. I mean, it wasn't a competitive schedule. Since 1980.
Yeah.
Which is the magic bird area.
The bird, yeah.
The Lakers have won 11 titles. They've been to 17 finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Celtics have won 4 titles.
Right.
They've been to 7 finals.
7 finals, yeah.
I'll ask you again.
Yeah. So I mean, based on the numbers, I think the Lakers have a better franchise. Based on my heart, the Celtics all the way.
Will Boston ever?
Yeah, yes. Boston will win a championship.
I know they'll win a championship, but are they gonna?
I think they're gonna win a championship in the next couple of years. And I know that you're really down on the Celtics, and you thought it was that this year was their best chance. And I agree with you that this year was their best chance. But I think if they make the adjustments that we had talked about on this show and other shows, that they can compete next year.
I think the Lakers will win 5 titles for every 1 title the Celtics win moving forward.
Really?
That's
5 to 1.
Well, and I think Miami is going to probably win 4 or 5 titles to every 1 title the Celtics win.
Well, especially if they get Giannis.
I'm not talking about the actual makeup of the team right now. I'm talking.
You're just talking about the future of the
future of the NBA. Because the players have so much control over where they go.
Yep, and they can bring their friends.
And they can bring their friends.
Yep.
They are not coming to Boston. I hate to say this. They're not coming to Boston. They're going to Los Angeles, where the glitz is.
Yeah, where it's glitzy.
They're going
and
to Miami.
Warm,
they're going to South Beach.
They're going to the beach. Yeah.
They're not coming to Boston. And so, 4 years ago, the Lakers were in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they get? They get LeBron. They get a couple ones. They get LeBron.
Right.
Because that's where players want to go. Because they want to go to their production company and their marketing and do commercials. Or they want to go to South Beach and be with their Instagram models, and that's where they want to go.
Right.
So I'm sorry, the Celtics' reign as the preeminent number 1 franchise in the NBA is over.
Because there's no draw to Boston.
No, there's not, unless the climate changes dramatically.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's a whole other story. Do you want to get into that one?
Next week we're going to have Greta Thunberg on our show.
Yeah, I like her.
To talk about whether or not.
I thought you liked her too.
Yes, your hero. So, where are we at?
We're thanking our sponsors because we're all done.
What a great way to end this. Sorry, I'm going to start, please, with Skelly's Market.
I'm glad you remembered who they were. Downtown Grill and Cafe.
And Morrissey's Porch and Pub.
Have a good week.
Next week we'll talk about Mike's Heroes. Go Knights.
Go Knights.